Montana is now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Coulter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Got to get cracking because we got plenty to get to. It's that time of year. It means we are into postseason mode for winter sports. Last week, it was 2 weeks ago. In fact, it was state swimming. Last week, state wrestling in Billings at the high school level, and then diving into postseason basketball. For some classifications this week, and for others next week. We have the district tournaments coming up for Class B and Class C this week. Then we'll get into divisional, next week for Class A, plus then the crossover play-in games for Double A, and then all of a sudden it'll be state tournament time as well. So we'll get through some of the number one high school storylines from around the state of Montana. We'll also get through some of our top wrestling stories. We have a nice wrestling interview for you featuring Jeremy Hernandez, the head coach of the Billings West Golden Bears, as well as Mikhail Awayo. He is a now recently anointed 4-time state champion. He did it at 4 different weight classes, and he is the 43rd young man in the history of the state of Montana to ever four-peat as an individual wrestler, and he helped lead his team, Billings West, to a four-peat, so I caught up with those guys earlier today. Last week, we were efforting the Drummond girls. They had districts started earlier for Class C, so they were tied up because they had to get out to Frenchtown, play some games. But Drummond's girls did win the district tournament, and Jeff Safford was able to track them down yesterday. So actually it worked out better for us because rather than just previewing districts, we were able to then sort of recap them and look forward to divisionals with state coming down the pipe. State tournament is in Missoula, so if the Drummond girls can stay unbeaten, that'd be a pretty cool deal because they, Drummond's only 45 minutes from Missoula, and the Class C state tournament here in Missoula at Dahlberg Arena. So that would be a nice little advantage, I think, for Drummond's girls. So certainly lots of basketball before we get there, but looking like that's a possibility. And so Jeff Safford's got the scoop there on the Drummond girls. We'll also have our latest Treasure State Stars highlighting some of the best individual performances from around the state of Montana. And hour number 2, we're going to talk some football. Yesterday, this hit the inbox. Bobby Kennedy, the head coach of the Grizz football team, new head coach of the Grizz football team. Grizz are starting spring ball here. Don't look now, but pretty darn quick. Next Monday, they're starting spring ball. So it's upon us. Here we are. Because of that, Bobby Kennedy's hosting a press conference tomorrow. So in preparation of that, I thought, well, I'm going to prepare some questions for Bobby Kennedy. And then I thought, well, that'd be a fun radio segment. What are the questions I want to ask Bobby Kennedy? What are the questions I want to ask Brent Pease? Pease, the offensive coordinator, will also be at the press conference tomorrow, so we will talk with him. So what do we want to know about? I think all my questions will lead to more Grizz football discussion. I actually wrote down 11 questions for Kennedy and 5 questions for Pease. If we get through all that in hour number 2, I will be utterly shocked. So I think it'll make conversation moving forward, but certainly should be fun to hash all that out. And that's not all. We also have some track and field for you here coming up about 5:30. Sydney Brewster and Elliot Kasberg will join us. Throwers from Montana State. They are shot put throwers, each the top seed in the Big Sky Conference as their teams make their way to the conference championship in Pocatello, Idaho. It's indoor conference championship this upcoming week. That snuck up on us. Indoor tracks is so fleeting. Like they have one meet before Christmas and then like one a couple weeks after New Year's and then every weekend for about a month and then it's boom, it's conference. So it's very few competitions for the abbreviated season, but it's certainly still an important time, and it's fun for the throwers because they get to Like javelin doesn't get to go till outdoors, but shot put you can start honing it in, and it's sort of like then you can have a linear progression through indoor into outdoor, and I know that's what the shot putters there from Montana State, Sydney Brewster, the number one shot putter in Big Sky women's track and field, and Easton Hadelberg, the number one shot putter in men's track and field. Those are our two guests coming up at about 5:30. So there you go. It's your show rundown here on Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. You want to stream us, you always can. On 1029ESPN.com. You can also always use the ESPN MT app. You can also always use YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call it, text it, and remember that number because we're going to give you some free Tag Larry Deli coming up here a little later on in the show as well. 406-888-1029 if you want to be a part of the show. Shoot us a text and let us know what you're thinking about, what you want us to talk about. A couple weekends ago at Big Sky Doc Fest, I attended Big Sky Falling, which was a documentary about the mid-2000s cocaine scandal at Montana State. For those that forgot about this, there was a bunch of athletes using scholarship money to fund a drug ring. Most of those guys were on the football team. A couple of them were on the basketball team. This culminated in 7 different former athletes, or maybe even 8, getting arrested. Part of conspiracy, basically. And the most tragic fallout was the murder of Jason Wright by at least accused and convicted Brandon Miller and John LeBrum. LeBrum had played for the football team. Brandon Miller had played for the men's basketball team. We've talked about that already, and I think maybe I'll have a rehashing of this once I get a few other people in my life that have seen it. I know there's several that have, so I think it is worthy of doing at least a podcast about. But this film, one thing there's many takeaways I had from it. Again, I'll hash all that out on probably a more long-form format. But one of the things I thought about when watching that movie was the risk-taking behaviors that used to be more commonplace amongst young people, especially young men, especially young, brash, confident men, like college athlete type of personalities, right? And I was thinking about how, like, it's not impossible for what happened 20 years ago to happen now, but it is incredibly unlikely. Like, there is just such a small chance that a bunch of Division I football players in Missoula or Bozeman would be pooling their money together to have a drug ring. Like, I just don't think that I think in certain ways, I think that we've just made progress as a society. I also think that kids of the younger generation now, especially young men, used to always think, well, I know what the consequence is, but that's not for me because I'm not going to get caught, right? Nothing's going to hold me back. I'm going to get away with this. I think that, like, the what do you have to lose mentality, you got nothing to lose mentality, I think that's faded a lot, or maybe even completely disappeared. I think that's probably good, right? To be more discerning and actually understand the fallout of your actions at a younger age. I think that's progress as a society. I also think there's just a lot less irreverent behavior among young people, and especially young men. I think that's why football is important. I think it is one of the last great, true proving grounds for young men. And I think you need things like that, especially if they're like in a healthy fashion. But I was this spurred on this whole thought, and then I was reading on Reddit. There was a thread about this film, and the discussion had gone to that. It had gone to just how more disciplined athletes are now. First of all, I think they understand consequences better. I think they are just less risk-taking, and I think there's a good and a bad to that when it comes to coming of age. But I also think that just the knowledge behind what it takes to be an elite athlete, the constant nature and the consistent nature of the training that it takes to be a high-level athlete now, even at the high school level, let alone at the college level, or if you're in high school at the state championship level, like it just takes such a high level of dedication and training. And I also just think that, like, even up 20 years ago, even then, people knew that drugs and alcohol were bad for you, but they didn't quite embrace knowing that, right? You knew, but you didn't care. I think people are just more health conscious now. I think we kind of all are sort of knowing that, first of all, we're mortal. Second of all, we want to have, maintained and renewed health as long as we can. And I just think a lot of these, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there's football players and basketball players and whatever, athletes that go to Montana State, throw back a couple beers, whatever. But I just think that, first of all, you never see these kids downtown during season ever. Like, if you remember 20, 30 years ago, Grizz and Catcats would be downtown after games all the time. Sometimes now, but not really. I mean, maybe after a rivalry win or something, but and really not that late. I don't know. It's totally different scene. That's all to say. This leads me into talking about wrestling, because I think that right now, dynasties are the name of the game in high school wrestling. Billings West, who we're going to hear from in just a minute, they were now they are the four-time reigning Class AA state champions. Huntley Project, they won BC for the 5th year in a row. Sydney had been not atop the podium for a couple years, but they got back on top of the podium in Class A. That's their 14th title. Well, what does it take? First of all, it takes great community engagement and a great youth program, like getting kids started early, having them dream about wanting to be, wrestlers like Sydney Eagles or Billings West Golden Bears. I think that helps. But I also think this newfound mentality of young athletes and the dedication it takes. I think you're seeing more guys like Mikhail Owayo from Billings West, who's going to join us here in about 10 minutes. This young man wrestles year-round. He's in club. He's wrestling it regionally and internationally, not just in state, and not just within the state of Montana. And I think that's what it takes is just the discipline. So that's all to say that I sometimes fall into the trap of thinking, I think every generation thinks this about the generation below them, right? Man, they're so soft. They're so coddled. But I'm sure my dad and his generation thought that about us. And then, their dads were in World War II, so or Vietnam. So, they probably thought their sons and their sons' groups were soft. So sometimes you fall into that. I try to not be just that cliche and stereotypical. But I do think that the reduction of risk-taking behavior amongst young people, especially young men, is a double-edged sword. I think in certain ways the gravitation away from that is good. I think in certain ways there's a healthy level of risk-taking that young men should engage in. But that's what makes sports, especially combat sports like football and wrestling, so important. But it also then led me to this thought about what it takes to be an elite athlete now. And it's I'm not going to say it's harder than it's ever been. I think it's just more specific and scientifically driven, certainly, than it's ever been. So that's all to say. Congratulations to the dynasties of wrestling. Great job by Billings West, Sydney, and Huntley Project to have that sort of sustained excellence. It takes an incredible amount of discipline. So we tip our hat to you, certainly. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Colter Nuanez. It is a Prep Extra. It's probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank. Make the switch to Farmers State Bank, and you instantly become part of something bigger, something different, something more. That's because they're a community bank. That means local banking, local decision-making, local support for the people and businesses in your community. Switch to local, switch to Farmers State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, an equal housing lender, member FDIC. The other big news that's aside from the results here when it comes to high school sports in Montana is Spencer Laird is headed to Stanford. The Missoula Loyola product, I guess she's only a junior still, which is pretty crazy to think, but she is on her way. She gave her commitment over the weekend to Stanford. So, if you're a future women's college basketball player, and you're from the West, from anywhere in the Western United States, I don't know how, if you get offered by Stanford, you don't go to Stanford. So, great job by her because, not only is it the premier education in the Western United States, but it also has some of the great basketball tradition when it comes to women's basketball, right? I mean, they've just been so good for so many years. They've won the national championship 3 different times. I mean, their Wikipedia is crazy. Like they have to condense the number of Elite Eights and Final Fours that they've been to, because it's just been so profound. So this is it's an interesting journey now for Spencer Laird, because going from Class B in Loyola to the ACC is going to be quite a challenge. And it's probably going to be take a couple years, right? Like, first of all, she's still only a junior, so she'll have another year of high school hoops to play, which is pretty amazing to think about. And then she'll probably take several years at least to break into the rotation there, if that even happens, right? So a lot of TBD, but it's just a huge opportunity for somebody from a Class B school from Montana, albeit Loyola here in the Garden City. One other accomplishment I thought was worth noting, Jada Davis, the Bozeman Gallatin senior, she went over 1,500 points in their crosstown win over Bozeman High School this last weekend. Gallatin remained undefeated. They are 16-0, so 2 more wins, and they'll have an undefeated regular season. And Davis, 1,500 points. She's the third Class AA player ever to do that. It was previously reported that she was going to be the first, but then I went and stat checked that. Karen Deedon, of course, who's now, again, the head coach at Missoula Sentinel in girls basketball. She played at Sentinel, one of the great players in the history of Sentinel Spartans basketball, and she scored over 1,800 points in her career. That helped earn her an opportunity at Washington, where she was an all Pac-10 player there for the Huskies. And then Lexi Nelson, who's one of the great players of sort of my generation. She's my brother's age, so she's 4 years younger than me, but she was excellent at Butte High School, and she scored over 1,600 points. When I was looking through the record books and saw that, I was thinking about how, I'm reading this Charles Barkley book right now, and one of the things that really colored Charles Barkley's career and resume is that Barkley never won a championship. He was for a stretch of time the second best player in the world, when the greatest player in the history of the game, Michael Jordan, was the best player in the world. So that's just a weird time circumstance to be in, right? I was thinking the same thing about Lexi Nelson. Jocelyn Tinkle is one of the greatest women's basketball players ever from Montana, and she led Missoula Big Sky to back-to-back state championships. Lexi Nelson was the exact same grade as Jocelyn Tinkle. So Nelson never got to win a championship. She could have and should have and would have almost every other time, unless she was the same age as one of the greatest AA players, certainly, that this state has ever seen. Anyways, that's just a diatribe to go back to Jada Davis becoming just the third AA player ever in Montana high school hoops history to score over 1,500 points. And she looks like she has Gallatin High School charging toward a second straight state championship. Davis, of course, is headed Eastern Washington. One of the variety of Division I type talents in the state of Montana. That's what's so impressive about this, right? There's all these names that keep popping up, whether it's Spencer Laird or Jada Davis, Madison O'Connor from Baker, Mason Quinn from Frenchtown, Avery DeCoit from Big Sky. But there's Cameron Reinker from Billings Central. There's just such great talent right now. You can go around all the classifications. You can go around every region of the state of Montana, and chances are, there's a good, almost surefire Division I player playing somewhere near you. That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool. And certainly it's one of the biggest and most important storylines right now of this high school sports season. Prep Extra probably presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise is the elite online fundraising platform. You want the biggest checks for your sports organization, visit verticalraise406.com. Other high school sport storylines to follow. Lodge Grass completed the regular season undefeated in Class B boys basketball. They've looked like a team on a mission ever since losing the state championship game to Loyola a year ago. So certainly if they can stay hot, they are the absolute favorite in Class B. Scobie and St. Regis, they might be on a collision course after they rolled through their district tournaments. Each of them are 20-0. Those are the last 3 undefeated boys basketball teams. That's been the case for almost a month straight. Lockwood lost 3 weeks ago to Billings Central to drop out of the ranks of the undefeated. Sentinel's got the best record in AA, but they are on a 15-game winning streak, even though they're 16-1. they lost their second game of the year to Billings West. So they were out of the undefeated ranks pretty soon. But just Lodgegrass, Scobie, and St. Regis, the undefeated ranks in boys basketball right now. In Class A, the pecking order hasn't changed much in the last month or so. Ever since Billings Central knocked off Lockwood, they've been number 1 in the polls. Lockwood's been number 2. They look like they're on a collision course. Butte Central's been lurking in the weeds. They've been beating up on everybody. They're number 3. Frenchtown actually beat Butte Central, but didn't pass them in the rankings. That was a little bit perplexing, but those two teams have been battling it out in the Southwestern A as well. And then Columbia Falls has just been kind of chilling there in 5th, but I do think the poll is about spot on there. You could make those teams into a different order, but I think those are the 3 main contenders in Class A boys basketball. Butte girls are into the top 5 after they beat Hellgate last week. I thought Butte was going to be right there. Big Sky's the best team in the Western AA in girls basketball. Hellgate was getting the love as the second best. I was unsure who was better, Hellgate or Butte, and Butte beat Hellgate last week, and they leapfrogged them in the polls. So I'm actually not that surprised by that. I've been higher on Butte than most, and I think they could be a threat in the tournament, mostly because they got the best shooter in the state. They got Caden Scram, another great girls basketball player that we're going to be hearing from for years to come. Big Sky, they are the best in the West. We already talked about them, but they pushed their winning streak to 13 games, so they enter the last week of the regular season red hot. In Class B in girls basketball, Baker and Glasgow remain undefeated. They stamped their regular seasons undefeated, so that certainly pushes them further toward the goal of a state tournament run. Denton Geyser, Stanford, Geraldine, who we profiled a couple weeks ago on our Class C Spotlight, they're now 21-0 after they rolled through their district tournament this last week. And as I mentioned, Drummond took home the district tournament championship in Frenchtown this last weekend. And they are now 20-0 as well, one of the last undefeated Class C teams in high school girls basketball. Prep Extra rolls on. Let's talk some wrestling. Well, time now for Prep Extra wrestling style. And Billings West, now the 4-time champions of Class AA, and we're joined by the latest 4-time champion from the state of Montana as well. The head coach of Billings West, Jeremy Hernandez, joining us, as well as Mikael Aguayo here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Guys, thanks for being here. First of all, we got to start with you, Jeremy. I know that this has been something you guys have been chasing for a long time. You've been state champions before, but to four-peat, that's the first time in a long time that's happened at the AA level. What did it take for this group, and what went into these guys pursuing and then accomplishing that goal?
Well, it's just all these kids that work really hard in the room and dedicate themselves to attaining the goals that they set. I mean, we don't look at it as, winning 2, 3, or 4. We won our first state title. We enjoyed the heck out of it. We put it on the shelf and let the dust collect on it, and then we focus on the next one, which would be state title number 2. And that's kind of what we do. Is we don't worry about trying to, hey, let's keep repeating and repeating. Let's focus on winning this next state title, which is the one in front of us, because the other ones, they don't help us. They're just collecting dust, and we're going to enjoy the heck out of this one for I don't know how long. And when the season starts next year, then we'll focus on that one and say, hey, let's focus on this state title and not worry about if it's number 5.
Mikael, how about for you? I mean, obviously the pursuit of a four-peat, that's something that every wrestler dreams of, but there's only been 43 guys that ever do it in the state of Montana, including yourself. So what did it take this year? What were some of your biggest challenges you had to overcome to get to the four-peat?
Yeah, it was tough, but just stuck to it like any other season, like freshman year, just keeping everything the same and performing how I can.
Was there a moment where you realized like that was a realistic goal, like within the scope of your career? Like, was there a moment you realized, oh wow, I could make it run at being a 4-timer?
Yeah. It all started freshman year. Winning my first one, I'm like, yeah, now I got to set a bigger goal for myself.
Well, you've seen a couple guys do it before you too, right? I mean, this is the third year in a row Billings West has had a 4-timer. So did those guys influence you at all? And how much did you learn just watching them in a similar pursuit?
Yeah. Keen and Zach, I've grown up with them when our club first started. They were my partners just first starting wrestling. So it was awesome to see those guys win it and, kind of follow in their footsteps.
Coach, what did you think of just Mikhail's pursuit? Because not only a four-timer, but he did it with an undefeated record here his senior year, and it was pretty dominant throughout. So, I mean, what did you think of just the way that he was able to pursue this and attain such a lofty goal?
I knew when he won his freshman year, I didn't have a doubt in my mind that he'd win the next three and become a four-timer. Doing all that stuff, there's a lot of pressure on a kid, and the way he handled the pressure is amazing. He had two other guys in front of him win 4 state titles, and those guys dealt with pressure, as well. But Kale is a calm, collective kid who really never changes his face, no matter what. If he's winning or losing, he's always, ready to go out and compete. And I didn't have a doubt in my mind whatsoever. I knew that he was good enough, and the work and time that he put in to go attain that goal, being a four-timer. It was just a matter of time, and he did it with, going undefeated the last 2 seasons. I think he won 100 and some odd matches in a row consecutively. Crazy. I mean, 158-6 is incredible. The kid just loves to wrestle, and you can see that on the mat and how much work and time he's put in. So, of course, there are some scary times where we got in some situations like, oh, wow, let's go. You're going to lose this one. Nope. And he just kept wrestling and fighting. And he's going to be a hard kid to replace, obviously, but now he's got bigger goals ahead of him, and we're excited to see where his future takes him.
Mikhail Awayo, as well as Jeremy Hernandez from Billings West Wrestling, joining us here on Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. You got the pin in the championship. Or did you want that? Is that the way you hoped it would end? Is getting the pin?
Yeah, that was the biggest goal going into it. I've never been a kid in the finals before, so it's pretty awesome.
What helped motivate you? Not only throughout this year, but just throughout your wrestling career. How are you able to stay driven? Even with all your success.
Just my coaches and my teammates. They're the guys pushing me every day in practice, and they're all doing the right things and chasing after team title every year. Just, even pushes me even a lot more just to go out, perform for my team.
And Coach, obviously the four-timer is such a historic moment, but this took a huge team effort from you guys. You had all sorts of guys contributing. So just tell me about the depth of your team and all the different contributors that went into, scoring so many points like you did over the weekend.
It's hard to duplicate things every year. Last year we had 8 guys in the finals. We had 7 state champs. I don't know if that's a record or if it's not. I don't pay too much attention to that stuff. But, and then we go into this year. We lost so many guys last year. And you come in this season like, okay, who's going to fill the void? Who's going to step up? And we are actually better this year than we were last year. We won every tournament that we attended. And we won our duels by an average of, like 44 points or something like that. And won divisionals and then won state again. And to have a kid win 4 state titles and 4 team titles, I don't think that's ever happened before. So the depth of our team is insane. We have so many young guys that came in this year that stepped up and produced points and just did their job. And, we're going to lose a couple kids next year, and we're going to have more kids come in next year and returners come back and hopefully be better than we were this year. That's going to be hard to duplicate, but hey, we got to set goals somewhere. So
how have you been able to cultivate that? How have you been able to get such great depth? Is this success? Is it just breeding success, or how have you been able to?
Our club is insane. I call those kids my little monsters. Mikhail and my son, a couple other kids, when I started this club, I had some guys come and help me start the club, and Mikhail and my son they were the first kids of the club, and our team logo has them on there as little kids. So it started back then, I think in 2014. And, you just set a standard and expectation of hey, this is what it takes to be good. And these kids come in the club, realize that this is what I have to do to be successful, and they have to live up to the standard. And when they see kids like Mikhail win 4 state titles and win these matches, that's what they want to do. So that helps us out a lot. And it breeds into the high school, which makes my job a lot easier because these kids already know what it takes. And it's all these kids. I'm just that crazy guy in the corner yelling, and I say it all the time, but that's all it is. I'm not the one in there busting my butt, cutting weight, going through injuries. That's not me. I got the easy part. I just get to yell and scream and coach these kids and live through them and watch them win.
Well, it's pretty awesome to see, and running the table and going undefeated in every tournament you were in. I mean, that's as impressive as the four-peat, certainly. Billy's West Wrestling joining us here on Nuanez Now. Jeremy Hernandez, the head coach, as well as Mikhail Aguayo here on 102.9 ESPN Radio, as well as SWX Montana Television and the ESPN MT app. Mikhail, what will you remember most about just running this team and just being a part of it these last 4 years?
Yeah. These guys are all like brothers to me. Practices and just traveling with these guys. It's really awesome. I mean, couldn't do it with anyone else. And yeah.
It must be gratifying for you, Jeremy, to see these guys, like you mentioned, from when they were little kids now, come up through the ranks and do it in the biggest stage in high school wrestling. So, I mean, as a guy that was, you had your son that was on the team, I'm sure that you know these guys on an even deeper level than just a coach. So that must be so gratifying for you.
I mean, it's what you do as a coach. You want to see these kids progress and become very successful with the hard work that they put in. And it doesn't always work out the way it's supposed to. But, these kids they hold each other accountable. They're brothers. It's a family, this program. It's fun to watch to see what they do. I mean, I love it. I love watching these guys succeed, and the hard work that they put in is just unbelievable. I would not have done that in high school. I mean, these kids are beyond the level that I ever was in high school, and that's the goal. I want them all to be better than I was in high school, and that's what we set out to do, is to make sure that these kids are successful and it's fun to watch.
One more question for you, Coach. The dynasties are sort of the way of the world right now in high school wrestling, right? You guys four-peated. Holy Project's got 5 in a row going on. I mean, Sydney, they didn't win for a couple of years, but now, I mean, they've won like 14 or 15 state titles. Yeah. Do you think that that's what it takes? I mean, is it sort of the stability of the program, or where do you think some of these dominant programs, why has that been such a trend lately in high school wrestling?
Everybody's got to be bought in, and that comes from the kids to the coaches to the parents. They got to be bought into the program, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. And once everybody's bought in, then good things are going to happen, obviously, and makes it a lot easier. So as far as the dynasty, I don't know if we're there yet. We still got a lot more work to do. We're not satisfied by any means. Like I said, we're going to enjoy this four-peat, and here in a few weeks, a month, whatever, we're going to get back in the room and start working, because we got national tournaments that we got to go to. And Mikhail's got goals, I think, to go to these national tournaments and place high and continue to get better. And then we'll see where his future takes him. And, that's the whole process of it. It's a fun ride. So.
Yeah, Mikhail, do you have any idea what you want to do in the future? Or are you just chasing this thing as long as you can?
No, yeah. I want to wrestle in college for sure. The goal right now is to go D1.
So do you feel like there's more opportunities coming your way then? I mean, is that something that'll help refocus you here going into these upcoming tournaments here in about a month?
Yeah. That's my biggest focus, just go out and perform how I do in practices and how I've done all season. See how that goes.
Well, it's been fun to watch, like you said, Coach, just the dedication that these young athletes put in. I think about this all the time. Even when we were coming up and all that, I mean, certainly dedicated, but these guys, young people, are taking it to a whole different level now, and it's so impressive to me to see the focus and the dedication. So how much has that helped you, or I guess how much has that influenced the way you think about these things? Because it seems like being a coach in the world of wrestling, a sport that takes so much discipline, I mean, it seems like that those things go hand in hand. You
have some kids that are pretty good, that are good doing this 3 months out of the year, but the really elite high-level kids like Kale go 12 months out of the year. They'll when out of season, they'll train, maybe take a week off, and then back in the room just to get better and let their body heal a little bit. I mean, obviously, Kale's a prime example of how much dedication it takes by wrestling 12 months out of the year. We go to national tournaments, and sometimes we don't have the best result, but he's back in that room and ready to go to the next tournament. And I really think these next couple months, you're going to see a different kid out there and competing on the national level. I mean, winning these tournaments and just actually, enjoying it and just wrestling freely. That's what we want him to do, and that's what's going to happen.
Kale, has it sunk in yet that you're a 4-timer?
Yeah, a little bit.
What's that mean to you to just set such a lofty goal and accomplish it?
Yeah, it's awesome. I've been working for it for so long. It kind of feels like I did what I needed to do, but now I got bigger goals to go focus on and compete for. Yeah.
Well, Coach, I know you said it, but each year is a new year, and I think that's a great way to treat it, and that's certainly why you guys have had so much success. What will you remember about this specific team, though? I mean, what will your memories like? Which ones will linger about this group?
Just the dedication that all these kids had. Excuse me, had the tight knitness that they have. I mean, we all every year it's the same thing but the way that they performed. I mean, like I said, we won everything. We went undefeated in duels. We had another 4-timer, 4 team titles. It's like, I don't know how we're going to make that better next year. I mean, it's crazy we have to, obviously that's the goal, but for what these kids did this year is insane. This is my 18th year as a head coach. Never have I ever won every tournament, gone undefeated, and won a team title. That's never happened for me. And it's not about me, obviously, but it's about the dedication that these kids have put in to attain that goal. I mean, they set a goal. Everybody sets a goal every year to go undefeated and win everything. I mean, everybody does every year. But for that to come to fruition and happen is insane. And that just shows the dedication of each and every kid in this program, from the first-year kid to the kids like Mikhail. I mean, it's how much they hold each other accountable and push each other to attain that. And it showed all year, It's amazing to watch these kids perform. Well,
super awesome, and we appreciate you guys for sharing part of your story with us. And congratulations again on what was an epic weekend there in the Magic City Billings West, capping an undefeated and historic year with a 4th straight state championship. Guys, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Prep Extra probably presented by Farmers State Bank. Farmers State Bank, enriching the lives of Montana since 1907. We're up against it. We'll come back. We're actually going to do a little flip-flop. We're going to do a quick Treasure State Stars duel here from the Drummond girls basketball team. That's on the other side. Don't change that down. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Going to the dentist doesn't have to be a memorable experience, and at Big Sky Smiles and Sedation, that's exactly the point. If the thought of dental work makes you anxious, they offer safe, effective sedation dentistry so you can relax while they restore your healthy, confident smile. From implants to cleanings, Big Sky Smiles and Sedation makes your comfort their priority. Big Sky Smiles and Sedation, because your visit should be easy to forget, but your smile should be unforgettable. Call Big Sky Smiles and Sedation today, 406-549-6222, or visit BigSkySmilesandSedation.com.
While winter may slow things down, the team at Black Mountain Lawn is still hard at work across Missoula. All winter long, Black Mountain Lawn helps Missoula homeowners with junk removal, tree trimming and removal, demolition work, grading, and draining fixes, plus landscape planning and estimates for spring. Winter is the perfect time to get ahead and beat the busy season. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com to schedule a winter estimate.
Are you a vacation rental owner in western Montana? Tired of the hassle but still want to boost your bookings and revenue from your property? Meet Mountain Town VRM, locally founded and 100% focused on short-term rentals. We handle everything: marketing, direct bookings, dynamic pricing, 24/7 guest support, cleaning, and listings on Airbnb, VRBO, and more. With real-time performance tracking and a Montana-based hospitality team, they make renting easy and profitable. Let Mountain Town VRM do the work while you enjoy the return. Visit mountaintownvrm.com to see what your property could earn today.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
Vertical Raise is the top fundraising platform, no matter what sort of organization you need to raise money for. Vertical Raise is an industry leader with elite technology that can help you reach the most vast audience possible, in turn, delivering a bigger check for you and your organization. In 2023, Vertical Raise Montana helped raise more than $1.5 million for high school sports organizations around the Treasure State, and the returns were more than 30% greater than any other fundraising program. To find out more about how Vertical Raise can deliver your organization the biggest check possible, visit verticalraise.com.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
One of the craziest Tiny Desk concerts that there is on the internet. Go check it out if you get a chance. Tosh Sultana is her name. That song called The Jungle. I think she's a Kiwi. She's from New Zealand. She's really talented. That's a fun Tiny Desk. If you've never watched those NPR Tiny Desks, you should. It's a great live music experience. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Time for a quick Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Parkside Credit Union, a great place in Western Montana to get a loan because Parkside Credit Union loves to say yes. Highlight some tracksters because it is the Big Sky Indoor Track and Field Championships this week in Pocatello, Idaho. Couple Athlete of the Week honors at Montana State, including two of our upcoming guests here on the show. Sydney Brewster won her second Women's Field Athlete of the Week thanks to her school record mark in the shot put. And Easton Hadelberg was named the Men's Field Athlete of the Week. He also threatened a school record and had the top throw in the Big Sky so far this season, and they were each honored by the conference earlier this week. Big Sky Championships coming up in Pocatello, Idaho. Also some pretty dang fun athletes to watch on the women's side from the University of Montana, including Callie Wilson. She is as much of a phenom as I've seen for a freshman in the Big Sky in a really long time. She has the fastest time in the league in the 60 meters and the 200 meters. She set the Montana school record in the 200 meters the first time she ever ran it as a collegian. That's pretty crazy. And then her second time ever running it, she ran the fastest time in the conference. It's one of the top 10 fastest times in the country, 23.56 seconds in the 200 meters. That's absolutely smoking. And again, Callie Wilson, only a freshman at Montana. So she's certainly one to watch. Carolyn Hawks from Montana State in the 400 meters has the top time coming in. A lot of great sprinters right now for each Montana and Montana State. The 4x400 meter relay team of Tilde Gerarger, Peyton Garrison, Juliana Gandolfi, and Carolyn Hawks, who's also the top 400-meter runner. They set a school record in the 4x400 earlier this year. They got the top time in the conference. The distance medley relay team of Iris Rodgel, Annie Call, Sophia Miller, and Stella Diaz also has the top time for Montana State in the 4,000-meter DMR. Of course, Brewster in the shot put. Erin Wild, who's at the University of Montana, she's a senior. She set a school record earlier this year in the high jump, going over 6 feet. That's the top jump in the conference. Haley Coey, who's a Billings product at Montana State. She's got the longest long jump so far in the league. And Genevieve Lynch is the top weight thrower in the conference. She's a senior from Montana State. So you look at that, that's 3 different Grizzlies, and when you count the relays, double-digit Bobcat women to watch this weekend, just in terms of being the top seed in their respective events coming in. On the men's side, Easton Hadelberg in the shot put, certainly Kevin Swindler in the pole vault for Montana. He's got the top mark in the league. Those are the two that are leading their respective events headed into this indoor championships in Pocatello starting on Thursday, actually, and the full meet starts on Friday. 129 ESPN Radio Treasure State Stars, probably presented by Parkside Credit Union. Usually we do a whole bunch of, we usually try to pick 15 to 20 high school basketball performances from the week that was. To be completely honest, there was very few just regular season games. It was almost all district tournaments this last week, and there's just so many games to go through. I just figured we would just sort of, instead of just bore you with name, number over and over and over again without putting any of it into any context, just decided we were going to do a little track-heavy Treasure State Stars and then have some more discussion about storylines to watch like we did off the top here with the postseason upon us. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio. Come back and hear from the Drummond High School girls. They are the district champions, one of two undefeated teams left in Class C. Jeff Safford's got the scoop. That's next. Keep it right here, 129 ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Brody Miller, real estate loan officer with Stockman Bank in Missoula. Having the right team guiding your path to homeownership is important. Experience the power of local banking where decisions are made right here in Montana. At Stockman, we deliver quick turnaround, professional service, building relationships one loan at a time. Stop in, give us a call, or apply online. Experience Montana's brand of banking. We're here to guide you home. Stockman Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Lifestyle changes can be tough, but you don't have to do it alone. The Diabetes Prevention Program connects you with others who share your goals and helps you build healthy, lasting habits. Participants have cut their risk of diabetes by more than half, and even more for older adults. Smoking and vaping also increase your risk for diabetes and heart disease. Get free quit help at quitnowmontana.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. To join the Diabetes Prevention Program at Missoula Public Health, call 406-880-5344 to register.
Are you a sports fan who loves to win? Get in on the action with Sportsbet Montana. Bet on collegiate and professional baseball, football, hockey, basketball, and more, all while keeping the money right here in Montana. It's easy and secure on our kiosks and mobile app. Head to your favorite Sportsbet Montana retail location to catch the game, place your bets, and celebrate your wins. Sportsbet Montana. Learn more at sportsbetmontana.com.
From the opening face-off to the final horn, Grizz Hockey was backed by the best fans in college hockey. That's Grizz Nation at the Glacier Ice Rink. All season long, you brought the noise, brought the pride, and turned every game into a battle. Big hits, last-second goals, heart-pounding moments. University of Montana Hockey doesn't do it without you, and we mean that. So keep packing the rink, keep raising the volume, and keep backing the Grizz for years to come. Thank you, Missoula, for your continued support of Montana Grizzly Hockey.
You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a kids menu? Well, once you have kids, you know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find kid-friendly meals at affordable prices. At Paradise Falls, the kids menu is not only diverse, it's a total steal. For some of the cheapest prices in town, you can get hamburgers, mac and cheese, and other kid favorites for super low prices. Paradise Falls is a family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Come enjoy a meal with your kiddos in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Submarine veterans who've gone before are remembered aboard the USS Montana.
Geo Johnson, Quartermaster Second Class, USS Carbonero SS-337, 1969 in Vietnam. The USS Montana crew has thousands of hours of skills.
For more on vets and Montana sailors, browse the news page blog at ussmontanacommittee.us.
I'd volunteer for that boat in a minute.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Justin Bieber haunts Jeff Safford. I didn't even know that until like 5 minutes ago. But I didn't mean to scare him. It's just a fun song. I don't know. I know Bieber is he's polarizing, maybe too poppy for some. Some of his stuff's too poppy for me, but others of his stuff is really good. I mean, I just think he's a talented yet mercurial and polarizing guy. So Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Time for a Class C Spotlight. It's proudly presented by Wayne Dalton Sales and Services. Wayne Dalton Sales and Services offers you affordable and durable garage doors that increase the value of your home with factory pricing. How can they do it? They are the factory. You go directly to the factory for factory pricing from the most reputable garage door company around. Call Wayne Dalton Sales and Services today, 406-510-1899, or visit Wayne-Dalton.com/Missoula. Wayne Dalton Sales and Services, proud to present the Class C Spotlight. Just a few undefeated teams left in the Class C ranks. Jeff Safford caught up with one of them earlier this week.
Starting to get closer to that Class C high school basketball tournament headed to Dahlberg Arena here in Zootown, Missoula, Montana. Our Class C Spotlight rolls on here on 102.9 ESPN Radio, the ESPN MT app, SWX Montana. We're going to keep things on the girls' side of the equation and one of the top teams in Class C high school girls hoops. Coming off a very successful district tournament, moving their record to 20-0. It's the Drummond Trojans from just east of us on I-90. Levi Parsons, their head coach, with us right now on ESPN Missoula. Coach, congratulations on a successful weekend over in Frenchtown at the district tourney.
Thank you very much.
So you got a couple of wins to get your postseason started against Valley Christian and Sealy Swan. What did your team execute the best to get those couple of wins?
As always, we really focused on our defense. That first game against Valley Christian, they came out ready to play and really got after it defensively, caused a lot of turnovers and capitalized off those. We put a lot of points up that first game just off defense and getting out in transition. And then our second game was a lot the same. We didn't play as well as we have most of the season, but again, it was our defense. That first half, we showed a couple different a man press and a zone press, some half court trap, and again turned a lot of that into points. Our philosophy is possessions. The more we can possess the ball, the better off we are.
And you mentioned your defense a few times in that last response, and really looking at your team's success on paper, it's easy to see where it is a calling card for this team. You haven't allowed 30 points in a game from an opponent in your last 12. Is that kind of mentality of playing strong defense just ingrained within this program?
It really is. When I took over the program last year, it took me a while to kind of feel out who we were. And the longer our season went on, I kind of like, man, these girls, they like to play defense. And so we kind of built on that and got to where we are now. And yeah, they're hungry for it. We got a couple players that you don't see a lot of on the offensive side of things, and they know their role, and they are out there to play defense, and they do a really good job of it.
Now, thinking individually, this team really is a three-headed monster. Thinking about your leading scorers, Kimber Parsons averaging over 16 points a game, and the Kleins. And sometimes it's hard for teams to really share the wealth, so to speak. How has that group been able to do that, and how have some of the other players in your team filled into their roles?
For those three, all three are really unselfish. Kimber, she plays that point guard role and is an incredible scorer, but she also leads our team in assists as well. And and then you got Remington and Charlie the same. They do a good job at capitalizing on their shot opportunities, but are also always looking to find somebody else, whether Charlie getting the ball to Remington or vice versa, or, finding Kimber. They just work really well together. And then we got two more players that they really understand what they're there to do. Sawyer Hessler is, in my mind, one of the better defenders that I've ever coached, and Hazel Soffer the same. I mean, she's a heck of a defender. She's a great rebounder, and they'll both hit some shots for us when available.
The champions from the District 13C this season on the girls' side of the equation, the Drummond's girls high school basketball team. Their head coach, Levi Parsons, with us here on ESPN Missoula. The 20-0 Trojans are thinking about the divisional tournament this coming weekend over in Butte, America, a few miles down the road from over in Drummond on I-90. I would think about 45 minutes or so. Done that drive a few times myself on the road with different teams. But this is a team trying to really get to a goal of the state tournament, looked at as an undefeated team in a good position. But this program hasn't been to the state tournament since 2013. How do you keep that out of your mind this weekend?
We really focus on one game at a time. We've done a good job of that all year. Not looking too far ahead, just taking things as they come to us, and then just staying focused. We talk about the state tournament from time to time, and how great of an accomplishment that would be for our team to make it, since it's been such a long time, and we've got that goal on getting in that championship game. It's our school only has the one banner hung up in it, and
now, thinking about the community of Drummond out there on I-90 specifically, it is an interesting town in that it is not far from places like Missoula or Butte, places that have a little bit more population. But the town itself is I would imagine, a very tightly knit community sitting there on the interstate. How has Drummond really supported this group?
They're great. We have a great fan base. Every game, our gym is full of fans cheering. They're loud. We have a good student section. We have an amazing booster club that supports our boys and girls programs all year long. So yeah, I mean they do a lot for us.
Now, thinking about the tournament also being in Missoula, about 50 miles down the road west on I-90 from the campus there on the Drummond High School campus, thinking about Dahlberg Arena, is it exciting to think about the possibility of playing in Dahlberg Arena, this awesome Division I NCAA venue, while also playing close to home?
Oh, it'd be huge. To get to set foot on that floor where there's been so many great players over the year, and just kind of take that all in, and then being able to come home every night, not have to stay in hotels, the long travel. So yeah, I mean that's going to be a big advantage for us.
Levi Parsons, the head coach from the Drummond High School girls basketball team, visiting with us on our Class C Spotlight on ESPN Radio. The Trojans will be headed to Butte, Montana for the divisional tournament this weekend, starting on Thursday and rolling through Saturday over there at the Civic Center. Now, what do you expect to see at divisionals? Maybe, Coach, give us a few teams who you have your eye on.
West Yellowstone for sure. They gave us our first loss at the divisional tournament last year. It was a hard fought, good close game the whole way, and they returned a bunch of their players, and they've got a great set of players that starting five, and players come off the bench. So that's been one of our big focuses all year is West Yellowstone, and then Shields Valley as well. The Charlotte Vikings being another one. They eliminated us out of the divisional tournament last year. So some really good competition, and looking forward to seeing them.
Earlier in the conversation, when you were mentioning your performances over there in districts, you alluded to a few games or a few things that didn't quite go to plan for your team over in Frenchtown. What are some of the things you'll look to improve upon this weekend and get a better result?
Just our focus, really. Trying to stay out of foul trouble. We got ourselves into some foul trouble there early on in that championship game with Sealy. So we had to go to our bench, which isn't really that big a deal to us. Our bench players, we have an incredible bench to go to. Some great players that would most likely be starting on most Class C teams. But it was just an off night for us, really, more than anything. I think we had some nerves going. Our offense didn't really flow that well. Just some small things, but some things that we can clean up heading into the divisional tournament for sure.
Well, Butte America is on the horizon for this Trojan team. Last thing for you, Coach. To reach that state tournament, what are some of the biggest things you'll have to execute?
Our offense is going to have to execute. We can't. The further we go on, the better the teams get. So our defense isn't going to be able to do everything for us. We're still going to rely really heavily on it. But we need to be able to put some points up just out of our half-court offense as well. And then a good player rotation. Like I said a minute ago, we have a really, really strong bench. So to be able to bring players in and keep our starting five fresh and just a lot of good execution.
The 20-0 Drummond High School girls basketball team trying to roll towards their first state tournament since 2013. The head coach of the Trojans, Levi Parsons, with us on ESPN Missoula to look to continue their success this weekend at the divisional tournament in Butte, Thursday through Saturday. Good luck this weekend, Coach, and hope to talk to you down the road.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Cool story, and good reporting there by our man Jeff Sever. Appreciate his efforts for helping chip in here on the Class C Spotlight, which we're doing a couple times a week here on Nuanez Now because the Class C tournament is descending upon Missoula. Are you looking for education that builds strong minds and strong character? Valley Christian School offers biblical-based learning for 3-year-old preschool through 12th grade, where students grow academically, socially, and spiritually every day. At Valley Christian, students experience a diverse curriculum paired with extracurriculars, athletics, and opportunities to serve. With small class sizes and dedicated teachers, Valley Christian is a place where families belong and kids thrive. Visit valleychristian.org to learn more or to schedule a tour. Nuanez Now, Hour 1 in the books, Hour 2 coming at you. What are the questions I want to ask Bobby Kennedy? Well, guess what? He has press conference tomorrow. So I'm going to do a little prep work with all of you. That's next. Keep it right here. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
At Big Sky Smiles and Sedation, dental implants just got smarter. With Yomi robotic-guided implant technology, your doctor plans and places implants with incredible precision for a safer, more comfortable experience and faster healing. Restore your smile and your confidence with robotic-assisted dental implants at Big Sky Smiles and Sedation. Call Big Sky Smiles and Sedation today at 406-542-6222 or visit BigSkySmilesandSedation.com to see if Yomi dental implants are right for you.
Over 20 years ago, Farmer State Bank pledged to fund a $10,000 scholarship in each community where we're located. We've grown, and that promise has grown with us. This year, Farmer State Bank will award 9 $10,000 scholarships to qualifying high school seniors. That's community banking, supporting the people and places we call home. Bank with us, and you're part of this too. Farmer State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, member FDIC.
Missoula Fight fans, get ready. Fusion Fight League returns to the Adams Center March 7th. 15 fights, 5 title fights, and a bare-knuckle feature fight. In the heavyweight main event, Holston's Braden Peterson throws down with Mount Vernon's Juan Figueroa in a clash for the pro heavyweight ranks. Doors open at 5, prelims at 6, and the main card starts at 7. Don't miss the action, Missoula. Reserve your seats now at GrizTix.com. This event made possible by Stokes and Montana Moon Rockets.
Montana weather, am I right? While we can't control the weather, there is one thing we can control: your comfort. Liberty Electric, your partner in ensuring your comfort lasts until spring arrives. Let us help you stay cozy and worry-free through the chilly months, especially mornings. Remember, a heated garage means a warm car and a happier you. Let Liberty Electric show you how affordable a warm garage can be. Dial 541-WIRE. That's 541-9473.
Red's Bar is a beloved institution in downtown Missoula. Whether you want to watch a game, enjoy a cold beer, spend time with friendly faces, or simply wind down, the welcoming atmosphere and wonderful staff at Red's will make you feel right at home. Red's features 14 HD TVs and 2 full-service bars. Stop by and grab a beer with friends while you watch your favorite team play and check out the extensive collection of awesome sports memorabilia. Red's Bar in downtown Missoula, the friendliest sports bar in town. The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz Country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between 4 and 6, $3 draft beers. That's right, any draft beer at the Press Box, from domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between, $3 drafts between 4 and 6, Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
One of Montana's best basketball players is headed to one of the top schools in the country to play college hoops. Hello, I'm Jeff Safford. Spencer Laird, a standout junior power forward at Missoula Loyola, gave her verbal commitment over the weekend to Stanford. She is currently averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals per game, and is shooting 71% from the floor for the third-ranked Breakers. The 6'3 forward has offers from all across the West, including from Montana and Montana State. Her grandfather, Craig Hinkle, and her Aunt Jill played at Montana, while her mother, Bryn, played at the University of San Francisco. Laird follows in the footsteps of former Missoula Big Sky star Jocelyn Tinkle. Tinkle played for the Cardinal from 2019 to 2013 before turning pro, where she had stints in the WNBA and overseas. She helped key a run to the national championship game and 3 total trips to the Final Four. In Bozeman, the Gallatin High girls remained undefeated by routing crosstown rival Bozeman High 66-39. Gallatin senior Jada Davis scored a game-high 23 points, helping boost her career total to 1,522 points. She is the all-time leading scorer at Gallatin High and the 3rd player in AA history to score more than 1,500 points in a career.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Man, this is so fire. I've listened to this song in so long. I'm not even going to tell you the backstory of how we got here. I was just telling the guys behind the glass how we ended up on Timbaland for the day. But we did, and here we are. You know, throwbacks and nostalgia makes us happy. That's why they don't make any real movies anymore. They just make remakes. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio. Grizzly Disposal loves giving back to the community. They have their Chicks and Chaps pink carts and their Grizzly Scholarship Association maroon carts. They give back to the organizations every quarter. Grizzly Disposal is locally owned, veteran-owned, and always reliable. I made my switch last summer. Couldn't be happier. If you'd like to make your switch today, 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Or visit GrizzlyDisposal.com. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Yesterday, oh, by the way, if you're missing in the first hour show, fun first hour, we talked all about the state of youth in America, but also the dedication of young athletes and the way that that's translating, especially and directly, to both wrestling and football in the state of Montana. We also talked about Billings West wrestling and their dominant year. They went undefeated. They won every single duel, every single open tournament, swept the Eastern AA and the Class AA state championships, and they are now the 4-time reigning state champs of Class AA. We heard from Jimmy Hernandez, the head coach of Billings West, as well as Mikhail Awayo, the 4-time state champion for the Billings West Golden Bears. We also talked some Spencer Laird going to Stanford, some Jada Davis from Bozeman Gallatin with her latest scoring mark. The last undefeated teams in the state of Montana in high school basketball. We had a track-heavy Treasure State Stars, and we heard from Levi Parsons, the head coach of the Drummond girls basketball team. That's all on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe. all that fine stuff. So yesterday during the show, see, it's funny because there's all these different varying, the evolution of media has been fascinating. When I knew I wanted to be a person that produced content back before content was even a word, right? I knew I wanted to be something in sports, specifically a newspaper sports writer. I knew that when I was like in sixth grade. And I pursued that goal like pretty early on in my life, right? Like I started writing for the high school newspaper when I was, a freshman. And then when I was in college, I got a job at the Montana Kaiman. Then I got another job at the Missoulian. I actually worked at both for a moment in time. Knew what I wanted to do. But it's interesting to see how it's all evolved. The point being that it's hard to surprise me, or it's the thing that the way with how media is evolving. People always ask me, like, will you ever just go straight into podcasting or straight into this live streaming? I mean, I don't know, maybe, but like doing an actual live radio show is so fun because I structure this thing out. Like if you see me look at my computer all the time, I got a whole deal. Like I write a 8 to 20 page outline / script every single day. So I got all my notes right here, and it's certainly it's a labor of love, but it's certainly worth it, right? But the reason I love going live is every once in a while something hits the inbox, or something hits the Twitter, or something hits the internet, and you just didn't expect it, and then you get to this, do your thing, talk about this occurrence that's live in real time. There you are. So yesterday on the show, this was about halfway through the first hour, I got an email from University of Montana Sports Information inviting us to a press conference with Bobby Kennedy, the new head coach of the Grizz football team. Well, that's an uncommon occurrence when it comes to a Wednesday in February, especially when it's not National Signing Day. Like the last Wednesday in February, we went to a press conference. That was the day Bobby Houck abruptly retired. But also in the email, they also included that Brent Pease, the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach for the Grizz, would also be available at the press conference. Well, this is in terms of coordinators, this is the first time a coordinator will have been at a press conference. I believe since my brother and I started Skyline Sports in 2014. I'm talking just specifically for the Grizz. Cats have brought coordinators to press conferences frequently. They've had full access to their assistant coaching staff for football for a long time. It wasn't even just a Bobby Houck thing. Bob Stitt, his coordinators were available, but I can't remember them going in front of the press, like in a press conference setting, and doing that. But either way, certainly since Bobby Houck was hired back in 2018, I don't think there's been a coordinator that's got on the record other than in-house media, like either doing, the Voice of the Grizz stuff or the Coaches Show or, UM Sports Information. In terms of like non-affiliated media, I don't think a coordinator has talked to the media at the very, very least in 8 years. And I'd say it's pushing more like over a decade. That's crazy. But that's also really cool. So in preparation for this, tomorrow, I'm just letting you know, our ESPN Roundtable is going to be a smattering of sound bites from that press conference, with me then filling in the blanks on conversation topics and how we got there and what the vibes were and all that sort of stuff. So look for that tomorrow. It might even be an elongated ESPN Roundtable, because not only will we hear from Bobby Kennedy, but we'll also hear from Brent Pease, the offensive coordinator of the Grizz. So number one, that's the entry point here to this conversation. This Grizz football conversation probably presented by Cash One Pawn. Cash One Pawn is the premier pawn shop in Western Montana. You need some quick cash, Yeah, say that 10 times fast. You need some quick cash. Cash One Pawn has got it for you. They can do collateralized loans. They can do any sort of pawn brokerage. Go see them out there on Roller Coaster Road, right past the Missoula Airport, right short of the Y. Also, I'll be there on Thursday, our monthly show, live from Cash One Pawn. So if you'd like to swing by then, please do. Looking forward to that on Thursday. But this part of the Grizz football conversation, as always, presented by Cash One Pawn. Visit Cash One Pawn. That's cash, the number one, pawn.com. Questions for Bobby Kennedy. I actually titled this as 5 questions for Bobby Kennedy, and then I wrote out 11 of them. I also wrote out 5 questions for Brent Pease as well, because it is now 5:15 in the PM. There's no chance we're getting to all of these, but we'll hash out as many as we possibly can. I just think these are sort of pertinent talking points when it comes to Grizz football entering spring ball, which starts, oh, by the way, less than a week from today. Number one question. I think it's implied that the answer is yes, but I would like to confirmation, number one, and I'd also like to ask why. I think it's the question of why is not implying that I don't think it should change. I do. But my number one question for Bobby Kennedy is, what's your base defensive scheme going to look like? When Bobby Kennedy first took the job for the Grizz, the premise was that he was the rightful successor to Bobby Hauck, because that was going to be the thing that could keep the staff intact at as high a level as possible. Well, it's sort of worked out on the offensive side, because Brent Pease, the offensive coordinator, is staying. He'll coach quarterbacks. You already had an opening at running backs with Justin Green going to Washington State. Dom Dasty took the running backs job, former Grizz assistant in the first round of Bobby Hauck. He's been coached at the high school level the last 7 years at Eastside Catholic in Seattle. He'll be the new running backs coach, but that's a new coach, right? So that's not necessarily staff continuity. You already had an opening at offensive line with Cameron Norcross going to Nevada. Brett Myers steps in there, former Weber State offensive line coach. So you have a new offensive line coach as well. Bobby Kennedy was the receivers coach. He's now the head coach. So you're going to need a new receivers coach. We reported that Eric Price, who had been an offensive analyst last year at Montana, was going to slide over to wide receivers. But last I checked, I still need like a really official confirmation of this. But Twitter, which is sometimes a great source and sometimes not, there was multiple tweets, though, from reputable sources reporting that Eric Price was going to the UFL, the former USFL. So I need to track that down. But either way, you're going to have a new receivers coach compared to what you were last year, obviously, because Bobby Kennedy's now the head coach. You have Rob Fennessy returning as your tight ends coach, and that's it on offense. So there wasn't like that much staff to have continuity with, other than the offensive play caller in Brent Pease. Defensively, when the moment Bobby Kennedy took the job, you had Roger Cooper and Tim Hauck back as the co-DCs. Cooper also coaching linebackers, Hauck also coaching safeties. You also had Mike Linehan back as the defensive line coach. You also had Kim McLeod back as the corners coach. Well, then that swiftly changed. Tim Hauck retired. We reported that here. Roger Cooper has since been hired and confirmed as the inside linebackers coach at Illinois, following Bobby Hauck there to Champaign, if you missed that memo. And Mike Linehan, I've been trying to confirm this too, because it's not an official position coach hiring, but the momentum looks like that Mike Linehan's going to be an analyst there at Illinois. So all of a sudden now, in terms of returning assistants, it's Rob Fennessy on offense at tight ends, and it's Kim McLeod on defense at corners. Other than that, you're going to have to hire the rest of the staff. So because of that, my number one question for Bobby Kennedy is, what does your defensive scheme and identity look like? Because you had some guys that were sort of pseudo-architects of the 3-3-5, specifically Bobby Hauck, but also Roger Cooper and Tim Hauck, who learned it from Bobby. Kent Baer remains on staff, so we'll see if he slides in as a position coach or if he remains an analyst. My understanding is that he wants to remain an analyst, but he was the original architect of this, at least at Montana. Bobby Hauck brought it with him from San Diego State, but Kent Baer had known this defense, so he was Hauck's first DC. So Kent Baer is still around, at least to my knowledge. I'm almost certain with the hiring of Eric Sanders as the new defensive coordinator at Montana that they are ditching the 3-3-5. Great. That's what they should do. I think it's a system that is innovative and can be effective if you coach at a place where you're going to be up against it in terms of being on par talent-wise as your opponents. That should never be the case at the University of Montana, especially given the certain and current state of FCS football. You should have good enough talent where you don't need to out-scheme people. You can just out-talent them. That's what the Grizz did for years and years and years. I think the only thing that's holding them back from getting back to that is a sense of belief. So I think moving on from the 3-3-5 is the right decision. But I want to hear Bobby Kennedy talk about, yes, first of all, they are moving on from it. And secondly, why? I'd love to know Eric Sanders' defensive philosophies as well. So hopefully we can track that down once spring ball is underway. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Bobby Kennedy hosting a press conference to preview spring ball tomorrow. Here's some of the questions that we have for him. I also want to know just overall what does he want the defense, or what does he want the identity of the overall team to be for the University of Montana? That's been the thing that's, I think, has been sort of an undertold. I've told it a lot, but undertold in terms of the overall landscape here. The last couple years, the Grizz strengths, like their best, the best advantages they had from a personnel standpoint, their best players have been offensive skill guys. In 2024, they had a really hard time leaning into that. They also had 2024, all their best players were on offense, and they tried to lean into a defensive style, and they weren't very talented on defense. That hurt them. And it resulted in a 9-5 year that's sort of like the outlier between these other two 13-win seasons. They went 13-2, 9-5, 13-2. Well, last 23, they leaned into the defense all day long because that was their stronger unit. 25, they actually did do a good job of leaning into their offense, yet they still had a head coach that has a defense and special teams mentality in Bobby Hauck. That's one thing I'm really, really curious in. I know this is a huge turnover point right now for Grizz football. This is the dawning of a new age, right? I'm 99.9% certain that Bobby Hauck will never be the head coach at Montana again. I was about 95% certain he would never be the head coach at Montana again when he left the first time, but then he ended up coming back. But now I'm almost certain he's never going to be the head coach of Montana again. So this is the dawning of a new era at Montana. They have relied so heavily on leaning into that identity of toughness, blue collar, all that. Some of that they have to maintain because of where we're at. We're sitting here in Montana, right? I think that the best football teams, whether you're talking about pro, college, high school, they're the ones with the most fluidity within their continuity. What I mean by that is if you have an offensively oriented head coach for a team that has their most talented players are their offensive guys, I think that can make a world of difference. So last year, even though the Grizz scored over 40 points per game, they had one of the best offenses in the country. They were dynamite on offense. They still had a head coach that was preferring to win in a different style, even though I give Bobby Hauck a world of credit for leaning into the strengths of the team. That, for sure, was one of the reasons why the Grizz had a great year. I know it's really hard for people in Montana to accept that the Grizz had a great year. For some people, I should say. Because they lost twice to the rival, and the rival won the national championship, right? But it's still, 13-2 is just a great season, period, no matter what. And the fact they leaned into their offensive prowess was a welcome change and a breath of fresh air. I just wonder how much you can lean into it if you're Bobby Kennedy. Like, how much did Bobby Hauck prop up the quarterback? Hardly at all. How much did Bobby Hauck acknowledge that the quarterback is the central piece to a winning football team? Hardly at all. I expect Bobby Kennedy to be different. I expect him to lean into the quarterback thing. I expect him to say, Kale Iayatt's our guy. That's the guy that's going to lead us to the promised land. We love him. He's our captain. I don't know if he's going to be a captain or not, but I'd imagine that he has to be now by the time he's going into his second year as a starter, as an All-American type of guy, a junior, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. That's what I'm so interested to see, though. What does Bobby Kennedy want the identity of the 2026 Montana Grizzlies to be? Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Questions for Bobby Kennedy with his press conference coming up tomorrow He was the wide receivers coach at Montana. He was the wide receivers coach for a long time. He made stops all around the country as a wide receivers coach for the better part of the last 30 years. He first crossed paths with Coach Houck back in their days at the University of Washington when Bobby Houck was a young and up-and-coming coach. Then, of course, Coach Houck came from Washington to be the head coach at Montana. Bobby Kennedy, ironically, actually started his career at Illinois way back in 1990 as a GA. He then worked at Penn State. He worked at Wyoming. He worked at Wake Forest. He worked at Arizona, then Washington. He was a wide receivers coach at Texas for 8 years, a wide receivers coach at Colorado, then at Iowa, then at Stanford, then Rice, and then at Montana. So he's been at a ton of huge places. I just want to know how he thinks the experience coaching at some of the top. I mean, he won a national championship at Texas, so he was absolutely at the pinnacle of college football. How does that help you in your first year as a first-time head coach? What are the things you learned as a receivers coach over all these years that will help you translate into head coaching mode? The other thing I want to ask him is, I mean, you go through that list. He was a GA for Joe Paterno at Penn State. He worked for Rick Neuheisel at Washington. He worked for Mac Brown at Texas. He worked for David Shaw at Stanford. I mean, those are some pretty big-time names in the world of college football. I want to know how he drew from those guys. Like, what sort of things did he learn from them? And then what can he implement into his own style as a head coach? Another thing Bobby Kennedy has made his own style so far as the head coach of Montana is his social media presence. I chuckle because, Bobby Kennedy is, he's 59 years old. He'll be 60 in December. But he's doing it, man. He's doing graphic design. He's tweeting it out. I know a lot of people have made jest of it. I know Bobcat fans have been having a heyday over it. And I get it. Like his stuff is the stuff he's putting out that are like recruiting graphics and social media posts, etc. They're not polished. They're not slick and modern and looking like they're coming from some media agency. I think that's what makes them stand out, though. I hope that makes sense. Like they're not good, but they are good because they're unforgettable, right? But it's a perfect parlay into then talking about his efforts in recruiting, what recruiting means to him, what are some of the intangibles he looks for in recruiting. Of course, everybody wants big, strong, fast guys that can hit, run, tackle, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody wants guys that are, well-behaved, good family. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's pretty much just check the box, right? You want to get the best that you can of those tangible elements. What are the intangibles that Bobby Kennedy looks for, though? That's certainly something I'm going to ask him. And why does he think that how does the personal relationships that are cultivated by these graphics, how does that then cater to and accentuate the intangibles you're looking for in recruiting? That's certainly one of the number one things I want to ask him. The expectations at Montana. I think that's one of the number one factors for a guy that takes the head coaching job at the University of Montana. Does he understand and then subsequently embrace the expectations that exist at UM? If you can lean in all the way and you understand that anything less than a national championship, I'm not going to say is a bust, but is falling short of expectation, I think you got a shot. Like I actually think Bob Stitt could have been okay, if not good, as the head coach at Montana if he would have understood the expectation. He was thinking about it through a different lens, right? Like I remember when they won in Bozeman in 2015, which you win in Bozeman, it's a good win, but that was a different level of Bobcat team at that exact moment. I mean that team had just finished 5-6 and their coach got fired, as opposed to the team that just won the national championship some 11 years later. But either way, I remember when Bob Stitt won in Bozeman and then beat South Dakota State narrowly in the first round of the playoffs and then lost the next week, and it was almost like that was good enough. And people around Western Montana were like, that's not good enough. I remember there being like some confusion there. So certainly how does Bobby Kennedy embrace the expectations? Can't wait to ask him about that element as well. Nuanez Now, 129 ESPN Radio. Questions for BK. We got our first press conference with the new Grizz head coach. That's not just about his hiring, but actually about his football team. That's coming up tomorrow, so we'll have quotes and actualities from that coming up during tomorrow's show during the 5 o'clock hour for our ESPN Roundtable. Other questions I have for Bobby Kennedy. Does he think the offensive line and the defensive line are up to championship caliber? Both Big Sky and National Championship. At this point, that's the same caliber, right? Are the lines up to championship caliber? Certainly, I've thought that the narrative around the Grizz offensive line has been interesting and frustrating at the same time. Montana dominated up front for so long. They certainly at least made an effort to try to get better on the offensive line, and they had some high water marks. But I think that the perception has been that it depends on which side of the coin you look at. The Grizz offensive line, let's just say the last 3 years, it's been better than most offensive lines in the country. Yet it has been nowhere close to good enough. And I think that's the crux. Like, which side of the coin do you look at? Are you looking at the coin saying, wow, the Grizz are like a top 10 or top 15 offensive line in the country? That's cool. That's good. Or do you look at it and say, well, what's the number one most consistent factor in the FCS over the last 15 years? You got to have one of the best offensive lines in the country to be a national champion. North Dakota State set that bar. South Dakota State accentuated that bar. Montana State has at least met that bar year in and year out. You got to have at least two guys that are either going to the pros or transferring to the Power Four on your offensive line to be able to hang with those big dogs. And so that's the deal. What does Bobby Kennedy think? Like, is he gauging it through the lens of we are better than most everybody else, or is he gauging it through the lens of we're good, but we're not as good as the teams we need to beat? I think it's an interesting perspective. Regardless of what he thinks of the offensive line or not, that's probably the biggest question mark coming into spring for the Grizz. They had 5 senior starters last year. Colin Amick got some playing time as a redshirt freshman. He transferred. He's at Iowa State. Lucas Fritas got some playing time as a sophomore. I think he'll be a guy that's probably the most veteran of the group coming back. Other than that, how do you fill in the blanks? You took some transfers. What do you expect out of those guys? You got some guys that have been in your program for a couple years. What do you expect of those guys? How do you rebuild the offensive line? How does that go hand in hand with development? How does that go hand in hand with winter conditioning? How does that go hand in hand with your strength and conditioning program? Also want to ask Coach Kennedy about that, his philosophies and evaluations of strength and conditioning at Montana. And last thing, what intangibles are you looking for in your current players that you want to cultivate and when you're out on the recruiting trail? I think that's an interesting part when it comes to forming the identity of the University of Montana as we start, again, a new era, dawn of a new era. And I'm saying it starts tomorrow because that's when the press conference is with not only Bobby Kennedy, but also Brent Pease, the offensive coordinator, available. So we'll have anything and everything we can from that for you here on the show tomorrow. I also have questions for Pease, but we don't have any time for that. Maybe we'll get to that a little bit later on. Take a break right now, though. Talk to 2 of the best shot put throwers in the Big Sky Conference. On the other side, don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 129 ESPN Radio.
Are you a vacation rental owner in Western Montana? Tired of the hassle but still want to boost your bookings and revenue from your property? Meet Mountaintown VRM. Mountaintown VRM offers property owners a real-time portal with the detailed insights into revenue, expenses, and platform performance, plus the ability to block personal dates. Guests benefit from custom digital guidebooks with local tips and house information curated by our Montana-based team to create a more personalized and memorable stay. Let Mountaintown VRM do the work while you enjoy the return. Visit mountaintownvrm.com to see what your property could earn today.
From From the opening face-off to the final horn, Grizz Hockey was backed by the best fans in college hockey. That's Grizz Nation at the Glacier Ice Rink. All season long, you brought the noise, brought the pride, and turned every game into a battle. Big hits, last-second goals, heart-pounding moments. University of Montana Hockey doesn't do it without you, and we mean that. So keep packing the rink, keep raising the volume, and keep backing the Grizz for years to come. Thank you, Missoula, for your continued support of Montana Grizzly Hockey.
Guys, are you ready to get back to feeling like yourself? Do you want to increase your endurance, build more muscle, and perform better? Game Day Men's Health offers testosterone replacement therapy, GLP-1s, NAD, ED treatment, and more. Book a free consultation at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Missoula. Mention you heard it on the radio for special pricing. No contracts, free testosterone testing, and a comfortable office. Game Day Men's Health wants you to optimize your health so you can crush it at life. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Missoula for a free consultation and free testosterone test. The wait is over. Grizzly Disposal is now offering no-sort recycling. No more sorting and dragging it across town. They'll get it right from your house. Cans, cardboard, and plastic all in one bin. Handled by Grizzly Disposal. Visit GrizzlyDisposal.com to add on recycling to your plan or to switch over to Grizzly Disposal today. Give them a call, 541-7171. That's 541-7171. The best trash removal service in town just got better. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage.
Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from your favorite daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now, and I want to buy you a meal on your birthday at Paradise Falls. If it's your birthday, head on over to Paradise Falls at 3621 Brook Street, and I will buy you a birthday entree. All you have to do is go into the family-friendly Missoula favorite, present your ID, and the entree is on me. Birthday meals courtesy of Nuanez Now at Paradise Falls, a family-friendly restaurant serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If it's your birthday, head over to Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
All Nations Health Center is committed to keeping you vibrant and full of energy by supporting your physical, mental, and spiritual health. All Nations Health Center in Missoula offers a variety of services to the Indigenous and non-Indigenous people of Western Montana. All Nations offers primary care doctors, behavioral health services, mental health counseling, and even dental. All Nations currently serves more than 2,000 registered clients who are proud Indigenous people. For more information about how All Nations Health Center can help you, visit allnations.health.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
One of Montana's best basketball players is headed to one of the top schools in the country to play college hoops. Hello, I'm Jeff Safford. Spencer Laird, a standout junior power forward at Missoula Loyola, gave her verbal commitment over the weekend to Stanford. She is currently averaging 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals per game, and is shooting 71% from the floor for the third-ranked Breakers. The 6'3 forward has offers from all across the West, including from Montana and Montana State. Her grandfather, Craig Hinkle, and her Aunt Jill played at Montana, while her mother, Bryn, played at the University of San Francisco. Laird follows in the footsteps of former Missoula Big Sky star Jocelyn Tinkle. Tinkle played for the Cardinal from 2019 to 2013 before turning pro, where she had stints in the WNBA and overseas. She helped Kia run to the national championship game and 3 total trips to the Final Four. In Bozeman, the Gallatin High girls remained undefeated by routing crosstown rival Bozeman High 66-39. Gallatin senior Jada Davis scored a game-high 23 points, helping boost her career total to 1,522 points. She is the all-time leading scorer at Gallatin High and the third player in AA history to score more than 1,500 points in a career.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back. 109 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I'm Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes. They can get them to you within 24 hours. Don't wait days or even weeks. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock and get them to you fast. Visit GrizzlyDisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned and operated and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Last week we heard from Doug Fraley, the head coach of the Montana track and field team. That was leading into the Big Sky Indoor Championships, which are this week at Pocatello. Nobody competed this last week. It was sort of a rest week leading into the championships. This week, we'll catch up with the MSU side of things. Well, championship season in a variety of different sports, including Big Sky Conference Indoor Track and Field, coming to Pocatello, Idaho this upcoming week. We're joined by a couple of the top seeds when it comes to the shot put headed into this, both of them from Montana State, from the Montana State women, Sydney Brewster, and from the Montana State men, Easton Hadelberg. Guys, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. We'll start with you, Sydney. First of all, just tell us about some of your successes this season. I know that you and I talked last year, and you were on an upward trajectory. But now it seems like you take it to the next level. So what have been some of the things you've implemented that have helped you sort of continue to push the envelope and have some of these great marks?
Yeah, I think it's just like a new training plan in a sense. Not throwing as much, but when I do throw, make it intentional and aggressive. And I think we switch up my technique on almost a daily basis, just trying to get it fine-tuned. And I think we're seeing marks in that and just progressing in the right direction with consistency.
And Easton, it seems like you've really settled in this year. So how much has that helped you? And what has been sort of the key to your success having this breakout sophomore year you're having?
I think it's definitely what she said. The training plan is a lot different. Right now I'm doing a lot more reps than I was last year. So I think the bigger rep range is definitely a key factor in what's going on right now.
Sydney, was there something that you guys discussed between you and your coaches in terms of changing some of this training, or what went into maybe the new training regimen that you guys are under?
Yeah, I think it's there's a little bit more individual based than last season. We did a lot more team stuff last season, and now it's more geared towards like what each individual needs. Like in my sense, like I need less reps on my body, and Easton might need more for his technique, or however we want to play it out per person.
What helped you learn that? Like, what helped you learn? Like, how do you sort of find that sweet spot? What is it like? Is it a feeling, or is it just an analysis from your coaches? Like, how do you know how many reps you need?
Yeah, I think it's just working with coaches and trainers and our weightlifting instructor. And I just think like building on this time, like I'm going into my third year, and we can make these changes. Like we can see what hasn't worked, and then what also is working, then we can just find the happy medium.
Same question for you, Easton. Was there a moment that you realized that maybe the individualism and the extra reps helped you sort of accelerate your development?
Oh, for sure. My freshman year was definitely, like you said, a big like team kind of program, I guess you could say. This year it's definitely more of a individualized program, which I had an individualized program in high school, so I've been used to this for a few years now. So it's definitely turned in the right direction.
Sydney Brewster, Easton Hadelberg joining us here from Montana State Track and Field. They go into Pocatello, Idaho, each of them as the top seeds in the shot put. Easton, when it comes to, you mentioned just your high school background, what's the acclimation been like for you to college track? I know you've been here now for a little bit, a couple years now. So how's the transition gone? What were some of the biggest differences you noticed between your time throwing in Texas as a high school guy and now throwing in college?
For me, I would say there wasn't much of a difference just because I threw college weight implements my junior and senior year. I knew I was going to do this in college, so I've kind of acclimated myself early, and that definitely helps.
Sydney, do you feel more comfortable this year than maybe last year? I mean, as being in year 3 now helped you just settle in a little bit?
I mean, yes and no. I feel like there's a different level of like confidence factor after having so much success the last 2 years, and then like being able to move forward and planning a program that's more tailored to me, and like that helps me succeed as an individual, but then also having the team atmosphere around me. I feel like we have grown so immensely as a team than as just like an individual sport.
Well, that's awesome. That's one thing I loved about what Coach Weiss and his staff have done. So for each of you, we can start with you, Sydney. I mean, how much does that help fuel you on? Like knowing that you are driven by your own goals, but also that you are part of a team that it seems like that team atmosphere has really been cultivated. So what's it been like to be a part of that, and how much does that drive you forward?
I think it's been incredible. I mean, knowing that you can go out there and do what you do individually, but also having the energy and support of a team around you and having the team goal as to win a conference championship this coming week. Like, we know what everybody wants to do on our team. We know how to help them achieve that, and just being there and supporting each other is just, it really helps the adrenaline factor and just the energy all around.
Easton, how about for you? What's it been like being just a part of this Montana State program?
It's incredible. Having such a supportive team behind me while I'm throwing is one of my favorite things. Like, I don't think I could be where I'm at today without having such a crowd to support me.
Well, now that it's championship week, how does your mindset adjust? Start with you, Sydney. I mean, what sort of things are you doing to sort of get yourself locked in to perform your best when your best is needed?
I think it's very much like knowing you can be sure of yourself, like knowing that you have the confidence to go in there and do what Easton, our entire team has been doing all season, and just progress it as another meet, but also knowing that you're going to have the energy and adrenaline of a very competitive meet when there's something on the line, like a conference championship. I think that's just going to drive up our confidence and energy and just be able to compete like we normally do.
How about for you, Easton? What sort of things are you using to sort of focus in and take yourself to the championship mindset?
My mother's always said that I don't really have a nervous bone in my body, so
it's awesome.
I just go out there and practice and hit the positions that I need to. Weightlifting, changing weights, making them lighter just so I can move better. That's really it.
From a team perspective, what are the goals for both the women and the men as you go to Pocatello?
I think for the women, it's just walking in to Pocatello, walking into the building like we own the place, like having that confidence and trust in ourselves that we are going to accomplish what we've set out to accomplish. And I think just knowing that we can do it is enough energy to push us through all the way.
How about for the men, Easton?
I think we've had a few meetings. I think the main goal is just to go out there and compete, be up in the top three, have everybody do their best. I mean, we have a team that we could definitely, get to that number one spot. And I think if everything aligns right, everybody does their job, I think we'd have a really good chance.
The fact that you guys were there, did you guys go to Pocatello a couple weeks ago? I know a lot of the athletes did. Were you guys there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just being there, does that help you just like familiarize yourself with the circle and the arena and all that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely helpful being able to compete there before just walking in for your first time at a big conference meet. Like being able to test out the rings, texture, everything, see what the sites are. Like, I think it just helps you visualize what you want to do there.
Easton, do you like the ring? Are you comfortable there?
Yeah, we last year during the break, we used to throw on the same wooden ring. So I think having that all of last year to acclimate to this it's been perfect. So, and the dome, it's super loud in there. Especially with how many fans come and all the teams running, wooden track is super loud. So having all that noise is definitely a game changer.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, it should be a really fun event there in Pocatello, Idaho, starting a little bit later on this week. A couple of the top throwers in the Big Sky Conference joining us here on Nuanez Now. Sydney Brewster from the Montana State Women and Easton Hadelberg from the Montana State Men. Guys, we appreciate it. Best of luck this week. Thanks for taking a minute for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between 4 and 6, $3 draft beers. That's right, any draft beer at the Press Box, from domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between, $3 drafts between 4 and 6, Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
Canby Tap House is well known for having one of the best and biggest selections of tap beers anywhere in Montana. Did you know that Canby Tap House also has wine on tap? Wine on Tap gives Canby the ability to offer unique varieties of wines from all over the world at a good price point, and it's guaranteed to be fresh. Canby Tap House and Coffee has become a Missoula favorite. Swing in to see why. Canby has delicious food, an array of beverage options, and fresh wine on tap. Canby Tap House, located on Higgins across from Dornblazer Field in Missoula.
Montana weather, am I right? While we can't control the weather, there is one thing we can control: your comfort. Liberty Electric, your partner in ensuring your comfort lasts until spring arrives. Let us help you stay cozy and worry-free through the chilly months, especially mornings. Remember, a heated garage means a warm car and a happier you. Let Liberty Electric show you how affordable a warm garage can be. Dial 541-WIRE. That's 541-9473.
Big changes start with small steps, and the Diabetes Prevention Program helps you take them. This proven CDC program teaches healthy eating, stress management, and ways to stay active, all in a supportive group. Participants have reduced their risk of diabetes by 58% and 71% if they're over 65. Smoking and vaping can raise your risk too, but help is free at quitnowmontana.com or call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. To join the Diabetes Prevention Program at Missoula Public Health, call 406-880-5344 to register.
Think you're not scholarship material? Think again. Farmer State Bank's $10,000 scholarships were created for hardworking students just like you. Yes, you. Imagine what $10,000 for trade school, technical school, or a 4-year college could mean for you and your family. See your high school counselor or visit farmersebank.com, but do it today. Applications are being accepted right now. Farmer State Bank, your Montana bank since 1907, member FDIC.
You already know Tagliari Delicatessen has the best sandwiches in all of Montana. Heck, even People Magazine and the Food Network say so. But Tagliari Deli has more than just the most delicious sandwiches this side of the Mississippi. Stop into the shop on the corner of Beckwith and Higgins to check out all they have to offer. Tagliari takes pride in offering the best selection of imported Old World wines that are sure to please a variety of palates. Pair the wine with a sandwich, a cheese and meat plate, or both. Stop in to Tagliari Deli today.
It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Tomorrow, we're going to have a little hockey from our hockey aficionados behind the glass. But I want them to tell you the story of War Road, Minnesota. It's pretty crazy. My brother was texting me about this. Hayden was just talking about the same thing out in the lobby while we were hearing from the Montana State Throwers. Certainly, it's so cool that America won the gold medal. I don't know why we have to decide that there's like controversy about everything all the time now. Like, why can't we just be happy? Just revel in the fact that we won the gold medal in both men's and women's hockey. That's sweet. Let's just leave it at that. These guys are going to talk about that. Plus, we have the reignition of the NHL season as well. And sort of a nice breaking point to see like where we're at, headed into the stretch run of the NHL. So these guys will talk some hockey. And probably touch on the fact that there was a Montanan that won that gold medal in hockey as well. Jake Sanderson from Whitefish was part of that gold medal winning team. So that's part of what's coming up tomorrow. We're also going to hear from reactions from Ryan Tutel from Bobby Kennedy's first press conference. He had a press conference when he was hired that was about his hiring, but he's having a press conference about what's going on with Grizz spring ball. So I have plenty of questions. We went over that here in hour number 2, and I'm sure Ryan will have some stuff as well headed into tomorrow, and then he and I will have an immediate reaction hit that we'll play here on the show. Tomorrow we're also going to hear from the hockey guys, and we're also going to hear from Bobby Kennedy and Brent Pease. So it should be a fun one tomorrow. If you're missing today's show, tons of preps in hour number 1. Our featured guests, Jeremy Hernandez and Mikhail Alayo from Billings West. Those guys state champions as a team for the 4th time. And Alayo as an individual for the 4th time as well, 43rd young man ever to four-peat in Montana high school wrestling. We also talked some Spencer Laird to Stanford, some Jada Davis over 1,500 points, and the last remaining undefeated teams in high school basketball. And we heard from the Drummond girls, who was one of those undefeated teams. Their head coach, Levi Parsons, joined us as well. So a ton of fun conversation here today. You can find all of it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Please rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Wow, I almost forgot. We do this every Tuesday for going on almost a decade now. It's Tuesday. That means it's a Tag Tuesday. We had so much stuff. I was trying to keep us on time because we went so long in segment number 1. Tag Larry Deli gives you a chance to win $25 gift card every single Tuesday here on Nuanez Now. If you want one, we got it for you. Call right now. Let's go fastest to the draw. 888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call right now, 406-888-1029. That'll get you a chance to win a $25 gift card to Tag Larry Deli. Great sandwiches. Also a Italian-style market with olive oils, pasta sauces, pastas, wine, all that good stuff. 406-888-1029. Call right now. I'm excited to hear these guys take on the hockey stuff because I just thought it was one of the most awesome sporting events I've watched. We've gotten a chance to see a ton of great ones lately. I mean, the national championship game with Montana State and Illinois State was as good as it gets. But, I mean, when it's for everything, international bragging rights, you have the narrative that Canada, I mean, hockey is Canada's number 1 sport. Hockey is not America's number 1 sport. So to defeat somebody that's such a worthy adversary with so many great players and so many great storylines, and the fact that you lost in similar fashion a couple Olympics ago in 2010, like all that just makes it so rich. So I hope it's a gift that keeps on giving, and we're not even going to address all the controversy that's going on with this right now because I just think it's just flat stupid. And I just think we should just focus on the positive stuff. But regardless, I can't wait to hear these guys' opinion on all of that. And I also can't wait to hear from Bobby Kennedy tomorrow as well. We'll have the actualities sort of repurposed and put into context for you here on Nuanez Now. But we'll also have the full version of the press conference available on a podcast channel as well as soon as we can possibly get it up. So stay tuned for that as well. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Appreciate you for hanging. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.